Welcome to the Trophy Room, friends. This is the PlayStation podcast where we talk about all the nerdy news you need to know about in the world of PlayStation. I am one of your hosts, Kyle Stevenson, aka WhoDatNinja73, and usually Mr. Badbit, Joe, he's here, usually doing all the intro, but he's not. He's on vacation, and for the audio listeners, I'm air quoting vacation, because he's like the background producer of this episode, just sitting like right behind me in my ear, telling me what to do. Joe, you need to relax. Me and Sean got this. And speaking of Sean, my co-host from the Xbox Drive, Sean Capri. What's going on, buddy?
Dude, I just crashed my car right into the trophy room. I can't believe you guys let me in here. It's amazing. Dude, I'm so excited to be here. Can I just say, like, I can just blush a little. Like, I love this show. I truly am a huge fan. This is the top of my listen list every single Thursday, even before my own show. So
nice.
Isn't it funny how it turned out that way? That both shows ended up just. We launched both on Thursdays, so you get a little bit of PlayStation, a little bit of Xbox, whatever you guys like, both sides. But we're friends, we're sister podcasts, as we say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a blended family, my friend.
And I just realized today, and because I'll be honest, Sean, I don't have time to listen to podcasts, so I don't listen to Xbox Drive as much as I should.
Unsubscribe to Trophy Room.
Yeah, sorry. I just realized today that you're going to E3.
Dude, I'm going to E3.
That's
Luke Lore
insane.
and I are going to freaking
That's
E3.
insane.
It is like 3 weeks away. I am totally stoked. Yeah, we're going to be guests of Xbox Canada, which is amazing. We're going to Fan Fest, and man, we're stoked. We're even doing like a little bit of Nintendo stuff as well.
That's
so it's
awesome.
not even just Xbox. So we're going to check out we're going to be there for the briefing for Xbox, and then I think just a matter of hours later, Bethesda, we're going to go to their briefing as well.
Sweet.
So that's confirmed. We've got some other things that we're kind of working on, but dude, an absolute like dream come true.
Yeah.
And just all the stars align, like wife and family and tons of other things just magically aligned.
That's so awesome. I'm so happy for you guys.
Thanks,
man. I have goosebumps just thinking about you guys going.
Well, Luke and I get to meet.
I can't even imagine.
We've never met. So
you've never met?
We've never met in real life, so we're gonna meet at E3, dude. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, I'm giddy about it. It's very cool.
So before we get into the nerdy news we need to know about, or you need to know about, we are obviously gamers, so we're playing games all the time.
Yep.
Sean, what have you been playing lately?
Can I tell you guys something? Okay, so if you did listen to the Xbox Drive, you'd be hearing me talk a little bit about Nier Automata.
Oh, nice.
Which is okay because you can play that on the Xbox.
Yeah.
I'm playing it on my PlayStation 4 Pro. Don't tell anybody.
So why are you playing it on PlayStation?
Oh, I originally bought it for it.
Okay.
Originally, when it first came out, I just never got around to it. It's just one of those poor decisions. I'm like, surely I'll find time to play this. And yeah, it wasn't until I did this thing on my stream, if I may, twitch.tv/Sean Capri. I did this thing a couple of weeks ago where I had incredible game choice paralysis. I had like 50 games legit that if any one of these games were chosen, I'd be happy playing any of these games. So I put it in like a March Madness bracket thing, and on the stream we had everybody like vote for each pairing, and it got down to Nier Automata versus I think Tales of Berseria, and then Nier came out on top. So that's what I'm playing right now, man.
Nice.
And it's great. It's an absolute amazing game. I just realized how little of the story that I'm progressing in because I'm just like wandering around the world just shooting guys, hitting people with my pretty lady sword, and beating up bad guys. It's amazing. All the pretty anime girls, all the pretty anime boys are in this game. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
What kind of style of like gameplay is it? Like I've seen videos for it. It's got like a shoot 'em up like shooter over your shoulder, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that because I felt like a lot of people were talking about like Nier Automata, and they're like, "Wow, this game's like game of the year," but they never really talked about like what it was. I didn't really understand. So it's super Japanese. We'll kind of get that out of the way. Story is nonsense. It actually makes no sense. You're playing as an android sexy lady who is fighting on behalf of the humans who've been chased off of Earth, and they now live on the moon because aliens programmed machines to fight a war to chase off the humans. So that's the setting. You're in the future. It's like 12,000 AD or something. And the style of the game is it's an action RPG with a tremendous amount of really Japanese type of game influences. So, but the first hour of the game, if I can, it may be one of the best best opening hours of any game I've ever played, because it does go from like this shmup sort of style, and then the camera kind of like swivels around, and then it's more of like a Bayonetta type of action type of game.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then like it's just really cool. It's got a really nice blend of melee attack, and you've got a little like flying little pod next to you that you can shoot rockets or lasers or things like that. So I'm upgrading my characters, I'm upgrading my weapons, and managing my inventory and all this other stuff.
That's awesome.
It's really, really great, man. I'm so late to the game on this.
Oh yeah.
This is the time of the year I feel like I've got a little break where I could dig into my backlog a little bit.
I already picked out my summer game. I'm gonna be playing The Witcher 3 for the first time this summer.
Yes.
I pushed it off for too long. I'm very excited to finally dive into it, especially since Cyberpunk is on the horizon. So
yeah, and you've decided. So like then
absolutely, you
don't have that paralysis anymore.
Nope,
I love it.
Anything else you've been playing, Sean, other than Nier?
That's the biggest thing, man. I don't know if it's on PlayStation as well. I think there's an indie game called Black Paradox, which is a shmup side-scrolling like flying in space kind of shoot 'em up, but it's procedurally generated. So all the enemies are all kind of like mixed up, but you're essentially trying to get through a run of I think 8 bosses. It's got like you're flying a DeLorean with rocket boosters on it and different lasers, and awesome. You pick up these different power-ups that are essentially like the guns from Contra, like the Helix and all the flamethrowers and things like that. And it's so much fun. It's got a great soundtrack, great 80s neon art style to it. So those are kind of the games I'm kind of going back and forth on. That's my junk food kind of game, just nonsense. Yeah.
I like you. I'm juggling 2 games right now. While I'm at my second job, I've been playing some Final Fantasy X on the Switch, just because it's there. So yeah, Final Fantasy X is one of my favorite Final Fantasies.
Is it?
It. While I'm playing it now, though, I'm not really listening to the story. Like when the cutscenes come, I set it down because I know it already.
Mm-hmm. You can't skip it.
I mean, you can fast forward through some conversations, but the ones they really want you to pay attention to, you can't really skip.
Dang,
and you can't skip cutscenes at all, which is annoying.
Mm-hmm. I guess get it back. Wow, better get back to work.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Good thing I interrupted you for that.
But I got to the Blitzball part, and now I'm just playing Blitzball because I love that mini game in Final Fantasy X. So that's just what I'm doing on the side, and then I picked up Rage 2.
Yes, don't let Joe persuade you or dissuade you.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. No, from what the reviews have said, the little bit of reviews that I've read and watched, I agree with most of their stuff. The open world is it's okay. The driving is okay, but when you get to like the bandit camps or any type of story action where you have to just wreck shop, man, does it feel good. There's a reason why it is so synonymous with the shooting and first-person shooters, because they get it. The shotgun in Rage 2 is one of the best feeling shotguns I've ever used in a game.
That's what Luke was saying.
Yeah,
what's with the shotgun, so dude?
Good. It's a combat shotgun. It's, I mean, yes, it does massive damage up close and stuff, but once you put down the L2, the trigger to aim, in game it says like it melds all the shotgun shots into one, and it uses to knock back enemies from further distances, so it's not at a disadvantage.
It's more like a slug kind of thing?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that feels great. The powers you get, like you can force push people away and kill them or break down their armor. The dashing is great. I just wish the story was a little bit better, and there's more to do in the open world, but the gunplay and the style of gameplay is worth it. Like it's solid. Man.
I'm glad you're having a good time with it. I was saying to Luke that I just want to play a game. I want to shut off my brain and just wander, because that's kind of how I'm playing Nier right now.
Absolutely.
But that sounds perfect for me right now. Yeah, I'm in the mood for that.
And you get to pick between a female and male protagonist. I first started as the female protagonist, and then I realized that the male version of Walker, who's the main character, is voiced by one of the Critical Role guys. So I went back and replayed it because I love Sam Riegel. He's
nice.
So yeah, he's fantastic. The voice acting's pretty good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it from me.
Nice, man.
Yeah, are you ready to get into the goobers of this week's episode?
Did you say the gurus?
The goobers.
The goobers. Yeah, let's get into the goobers. I love it. Yeah, I feel like I should be picking these out of my nose.
And we got a lot of good ones for you this week, ladies and gentlemen.
Juicy goobers.
The first goober comes from GameSpot, Microsoft and Sony make nice, announced partnership for gaming and cloud services. Microsoft and Sony, the companies behind Xbox One and PS4 respectively, revealed this week that they have established a strategic partnership. The two companies plan on sharing technology and information going forward and build upon shared infrastructures for some of their future initiatives. Nowhere in the announcement are Xbox or PlayStation named, but its wording implies Microsoft and Sony's partnership will specifically focus on consumer entertainment platforms like gaming. The agreement says that the two will jointly develop future cloud solutions within Microsoft Azure. It also says that Sony will use Microsoft Azure for its own game and content streaming services, although Sony's PlayStation Now is not mentioned specifically, including a push to build better tools for content creators. The two are also committing to work together on semiconductors and artificial intelligence. Here's a quote from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. Quote, Sony has always been a leader in both entertainment and technology, and the collaborations we announced today builds on this history of innovation, added Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. Our partnership brings the power of Azure and Azure AI to Sony to deliver new gaming and entertainment experiences for customers, end quote. What does this mean, Sean? PlayStation, Xbox going to a new generation of gaming. What does this mean?
This finally means that some money is flowing from the Sony camp into the Microsoft pockets.
Yeah.
I don't think, honestly, it really means as much as maybe people are reading into, other than to say that Microsoft has come out on top as one of the best cloud services and providers out there. Mm-hmm. And the options are essentially like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon, as far as I understand.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense. I think that maybe the gaming world is maybe reading into this maybe a little bit too much because of like the fires that are flamed by console wars and things like that. But now Sony joins companies like Apple and 3M, and I think I saw like the NFL, NBC. There's a number of companies that are already using Azure cloud services right now. So as an Xbox fan who really enjoys the way that the network works, and it seems like from that end of things, I think maybe we can all agree that like Microsoft is kind of the pros at it. So I'm looking forward to that hopefully benefiting the PlayStation world. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I've had terrible experiences on the PlayStation network. Not just my name. Oh, yeah. Not just my name, but my download speeds are brutal. It gets throttled all the time, where my Switch is perfectly fine, and Xbox and PC are great. So if it improves from that perspective, I think cool. But I feel like we're being maybe a little bit too narrow-minded about this. It's got to be bigger. I feel like maybe there's something else, maybe even on the movie side or something else.
I get that, yeah. I definitely think this is awesome because I think we all agree that PlayStation's streaming sides of things are awful. They spent a lot of money on Gaikai back when PS4 was announced, and I remember being like, "Oh, this is awesome!" A way for me to kind of, it's like an in-home version of Blockbuster with PlayStation Now. That's how I felt. Like you could just kind of stream games at the leisure of your couch, but it didn't work the way it intended to. And I look at Microsoft sometimes and hear all the good things about their cloud services and the fact that their store and their online infrastructure on Xbox seems less broken than PlayStation's.
I feel like they just started in a better place. Like they got off to a better start rather than this like trippy start. I was gonna ask you, like, what does it mean to go with Microsoft versus like Google was an option, and I think that in either case you're going to be looking at like feeding money into a competitor for your Sony. Like, I don't know if I'm reading a little bit too much into this, but Sony is a big company, and they likely would have been shopped around. They probably would have been looking at multiple options and seeing what fit. Does this say to you that like does Microsoft now have a leg up? Do we perceive a leg up from Microsoft's perspectives over Google and Stadia?
I would agree. I also think that Google's thing is very unknown at this point.
Or is it just like anybody but Google? Because they're scary and huge, right?
Yeah, and I just think that PlayStation looked at and Microsoft is a known quantity at this point. And not that Google itself isn't already. It's just that the technology behind Stadia is very new and not everyone's going to be able to take advantage of that right away. I feel like, from what my understanding. So PlayStation's looking at Microsoft, and it's already an established thing. So why not kind of hitch on and try to learn as much as possible from there?
It's totally fascinating, man. It'd be so interesting to see what the heads of these companies, like what they think of each other. I think we all kind of project our perceptions on what we think Sony would think of Microsoft, or like what is going through their minds. But it's much more business. Like, there's not as much ego involved as I think we all like to think there is, of people getting like totally burned by this guy and, oh my gosh, what a bit, like, they don't think like that. These CEOs are on a totally different level. They don't, like, our brains cannot comprehend how Satya Nadella's mind works. He's on another level. So it'd be very interesting to know the decisions that are made on both sides and really what happened.
That was one of my favorite moments from the Game Awards last year, when all three heads of the brands came out, and they're like, listen, we're all here because we love games. Yeah. It's not because we hate each other. We want to make the best experiences possible. And so, like, hopefully this is a step in the right direction and we all play nice together.
Well, that is really and that was a cue from, like, Oscars and other awards, really. Because, like, you see all these directors and actors and everybody, like, all these competing studios and people who work in their line of work coming together, and, like, you don't even think about it. Like, even to try and, like, draw that comparison, people are like, what the hell are you even talking about? Like, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is that it's not a thing at the Oscars, so.
Yeah, you never really see Warner Brothers and Disney fight
exactly.
it out.
That's couldn't have said it better myself. Obviously,
everyone's in it because they want to make the best stuff.
Yeah.
The next scoover comes from comicbook.com, and this is an interesting one. Sony Interactive launches unit to adapt games for film and TV. Sony Interactive Entertainment has launched a new unit called PlayStation Productions, with the goal of exploring its extensive catalog of games to see which franchises could be candidates for film and TV adaptations. Sony's got no shortage of games to pick from, and it looks like some properties have apparently already been chosen, since the unit is already working on producing its first set of projects, a new report suggests. The unit will be headed by Asad Kizilbash, the vice president of marketing for exclusive games at PlayStation, and will be overseen by SIE chairman of Worldwide Studios, Sean Layden. The Hollywood Reporter said Layden told the outlet that now is a good time to look at other media opportunities in areas such as streaming, film, and TV to expand Sony's properties to other mediums. Production of these projects will be handled by PlayStation Productions, with the sister company, Sony Studios, assisting with the distribution, which means that these projects won't be licensed out to other companies. Sean would never lie to me. Layden stated, quotes, "We've got 25 years of game development experience, and that's created 25 years of great games, franchises, and stories," Layden tells The Hollywood Reporter. "We feel that now is a good time to look at other media opportunities across streaming or film or television to give our worlds life in another spectrum." So before we get into our first question of the day, which comes from Joe, weird, I thought it was on vacation, there was an update today, about 4 hours ago. Twisted Metal is getting its show. It is one of the first announced things for PlayStation Productions. David Jaffe is going to be helping out with it. So we go to Joe. Hi, guys. First time, long time. You liar. I was wondering, if you were Shu, what game are we turning into a show, and which game are you turning into a movie? I'm assuming we're going to iron out the kinks with the first few shows, so I wouldn't want to see Sony out of the gate with The Last of Us or God of War adaptation. Maybe start a bit smaller with another Ratchet film or show, and Jack and Daxter show. But that's just my theory, a game theory. What do you think, Sean? What in your eyes, what is the first thing that pops in your head that you want to see from PlayStation Productions?
The funny thing is, it's not a first-party game that comes to my mind. I think all the way back to, like, the original PlayStation and how much fun I had playing, like, a Parasite Eve.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that could be, like, almost like a Bird Box style budget. Like, it doesn't have to be like this big overblown thing, but something to just explore, like, the weirdness that was Parasite Eve. I don't know why, man. There's a lot of rich horror stories when you think on PlayStation. Like, all the way up to Until Dawn is a very recent example, but there's always been really good horror stories on PlayStation, which would lend itself nicely to this.
I actually am kind of shocked that Twisted Metal is getting a show.
Yeah.
It doesn't really seem like
so much story.
Yeah. I mean, Twisted Metal Black has, like, the story there, but it's going to be violent. I don't see how this show can be anything but just, like, very
They make movies out of Mortal Kombat, so what do we know?
That's
you know
true.
What I mean?
That's true. For me personally, the first thing that popped in my head, and I haven't seen anyone really say it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'll ever see an Order 1886 sequel.
Oh,
And I think the way that game ended led itself to a sequel or teased at a sequel. And I would be so down to see the Knights and go after these werewolves in London. And I feel like that would be a great show. Try to uncover where they are. And I think the atmosphere would be great. Like, I want that show. I think it would be great.
I think that's a great answer, especially because the runtime was essentially just a little longer than a movie.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So you take out those bloated combat sequences, and then you're kind of there. What about Horizon? I don't know if that's too on the nose.
Yeah,
but I thought the story and like the mystery of like what the heck even happened was so fascinating. And then I can skip all the talking to the tribal people that I don't give two craps about.
Yes, I can understand that.
It's just kind of sneaking my shots everywhere I can, man. Your beloved game of the year.
Cool to do like a Horizon show before everything went down. Like back when
very cool.
The machines were like first getting built and what happened there and see firsthand. That would be kind of cool.
Well, did you ever watch like the Sarah Connor Chronicles, the Terminator show?
I heard it was great.
Dude, it was absolutely amazing. It died far too young. But I can imagine like a similar type of story because that's sort of like end of the world, but like you know that it's coming and very predictable. Spoilers. Did you ever beat that game? Did you ever play?
What game?
Horizon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So So everybody saw it coming, anyways. Yeah. And it's been 2 years. Just relax.
Yeah. No, relax. Also, someone said that Sly Cooper.
That would be so cool.
Like a show thing. That would be kind of cool.
Be a Saturday morning cartoon kind of deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then a couple other people that I put on Twitter said Mr. Brawl 96 on Twitter said Destiny. That'd be kind of cool. HBO style show, like around the tower in the early days of Vanguard. The BioShock hub, Last of Us, hands down. Obviously, that's a great choice, but I don't think they'll do like an existing franchise where we're getting a new game so soon.
I mean, Metal Gear.
Yeah, Metal Gear. Yeah, would be great.
You know, the more that we talk about this, the more it actually does make sense. Like there are like right from the start, Sony games were always designed like movies. Like there was always that special cinematic experience there. They were always designed that way. So this makes a little sense now. I got to throw a little salt into the meal here.
Okay, go for it.
Are we not talking about games on PlayStation? Is it now it's okay to talk about like TV, movies, TV, sports, TV? Are we not upset about this, Kyle? Come on, man.
Honestly, I'm.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. You got to be honest. You guys have been throwing a lot of shade.
Yes, we do.
Guess what Xbox has? It has TV on it, and it's got movies, and guess what we care about now? So just take it down a notch. You know what I'm saying?
I got you, Sean. I understand where you're coming from.
Joe's so mad right now.
I'm with you, though, especially on the heels of there is no Sony at E3 this year.
And we don't care about games. We're going to go launch a TV studio.
It does hurt, but seeing these franchises that I love be brought to the screen, I think it's pretty cool. But I get it.
I can't argue with that. I get it. I get excited about some of these things as well. But I mean, got to take it in stride. Number one, you got to take it. If you dish it, you got to take it back. And then the other thing that I would say on a very serious note, this is a huge gamble for Sony to do because Detective Pikachu is the best example that we have of something like this. Like the one and only. The next best thing is Mortal Kombat, the original movie. And
they're all they're laughed at because they're
maybe Wing Commander, Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh God!
What is the rationale? What is the precedent that goes like, you know what we should do? It worked out for everybody else to such an amazing degree. Assassin's Creed, there is no example. I'm being very sarcastic. So it's a huge gamble. I think it shows a little bit of the state that Sony is in as a company, that they really are leaning on PlayStation as a brand to kind of drive that ship forward and keep it afloat.
Yeah, I get that for sure. Just another couple ones that were thrown out there. Resistance TV show would be cool. An Infamous show.
Yeah, man, these are great stories.
Yeah. And then one from Famous Seamus, who wrote in the Casa de Bad Bit Discord, which you can join, link in the description. He says Uncharted, and have the people who made that short from last year to make the movie with Nathan Fillion. I think that's also another reason why they kind of pushed it, because they saw that short and how great Nathan Fillion was as Drake. And Stephen Lang as Sully in that short. That was fantastic. So if they want to just expand on that and make a whole Uncharted show, I'm in.
Yeah, man. And you can stream it all on your Microsoft Azure cloud services.
That's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
We're friends now, Sean.
Dude, I forgot to mention it. Like, what better episode for us to join forces on than when Sony and Microsoft partner up like that?
I'm so happy you decided to drive into the trophy room and knock down the wall.
Me too. I couldn't hit the brakes in time. I popped the clutch and it just like went right through. Hit 3 kids on the way over too.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Joe told me to.
Damn it, Joe. This next goober comes from Eurogamer. PlayStation 5 tech demo footage surfaces at investor conference. Spider-Man solid-state drive speeds showcase, future plans shared. That's quite the title, Eurogamer. Sony has shown an early PlayStation 5 tech demo at an investor conference, captured for posterity by Wall Street Journal Tokyo journalist Takahashi Mochizuki.
Yep,
I'm so sorry, Takahashi. And embedded further on down this page, the demo, or a variant of it, was previously shown to Wired magazine, highlighting the enormous streaming and loading time advantages offered by the proprietary solid-state drive technology that finds its way into Sony's next-generation PlayStation. The presentation is based on Marvel's Spider-Man, developed by Insomniac Games. It starts off by showing a series of fast travel warps around the game's New York map, with the PS4 Pro taking 8.1 seconds to complete a single jump. By contrast, the next-generation hardware completes the same process in just 0.83 seconds. Roughly speaking, loading times are improved by an order of magnitude. With the clip showing practically zero loadings between scenes, is this the killer feature for next generation, Sean?
I think it absolutely is, man.
I'm with you.
I think this is an incredible shift in conversation because the oxygen has run out on resolution and trying to convince people that HDR is a big deal. And people who caught on to HDR, they know that it's great. But it's not the next 1080p going up from 420 or 480 or whatever. This is so smart. I'm so jealous, but I'm also glad that the conversation is shifting and we're finding something that actually matters to gamers. Like loading time, man. I don't know about you, but I'm hit with a loading screen that's even 15 seconds. I'm staring at my phone. I'm doing something else. I'm distracted. I'm taken out of the game. Totally taken out of the game. And not only that, but then by the time I look up from my phone, the game's been ready to play for another 2 minutes. So like I'm actually killing my gaming time. Like that it magnifies how much gaming I'm missing by the loading time being bad. So what a great shift from resolution. We were all talking about graphics in the last hour, the screen comparisons. Look at the graphics on Xbox versus like that's garbage anyways. But holy crap, dude! Everybody should be caring about load time. And if this absolutely could be the killer app. So very, very smart. The last thing I'll say about it is I think this is a lesson that Sony has learned by trying to push the graphical prowess of the Pro. And I think that messaging fell flat when Mark Cerny came out with the Pro, and everybody's like, I don't see it. Like, it's hard for me to understand what you're showing me because screens and everything are different across the way. This is something that everybody understands, an order of magnitude from 8 seconds down to less than 1 second.
Yeah.
Killer stuff, man. This is what I want out of my next gen.
That's insane. I echo exactly what you said. It's weird to think as growing up as a gamer, starting at Nintendo and PlayStation, and being hyped about graphical improvements. Mm-hmm. And I think we're at the point where games are going to look as good as they're going to look.
Pretty much.
At this point. And so, like, I don't care how great the next generation looks because I know it can't be any worse than what PS4 is offering or Xbox One is offering now. Give me stuff like this, quality of life improvements, like extremely quick loading times. Just give me more with the OS. I think I'm more excited for what the OS is going to be on the PlayStation 5 than anything else. And I think there were hints I didn't put in here, but like PlayStation 4 is finally going to get an update where we can like track our progress with trophies. Like that's huge for me. So it'd be like if you need 100 kills in this game, it'll actually keep track and show you. I know Xbox does that, and I'm so jealous about that.
I wasn't gonna say it.
Oh, I was gonna bring it up too because that's one thing that I'm so jealous that Xbox does that PlayStation doesn't. But
I'm jealous of your platinums.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
you get like 1K. That's as cool as we can make it sound. That's about as good as it gets.
But yeah, I'm all about the quality of life improvements and going from 8 seconds to less than a second in loading time is crazy. I want to see them test that with like Bloodborne.
Yes. Oh, dude, that was a game that got raked over the coals.
Yeah,
When it
I know
first came
Joe
out.
was probably be like, yeah, I think it was like a 30-second load time or something like that.
And they definitely improved it over time. Like
Did they?
patched, yeah, they definitely. It wasn't when it first came out. All the reviews, you'll still look it up and see that load times was a big deal. I think this is really cool as full circle as this has come, because going from like Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64 to PlayStation, essentially Sony introduced load times. There was not a thing before.
Mm-hmm.
So they introduced this like, oh, I guess, well, the games look great and the music is amazing and Final Fantasy VII is awesome. So I guess I'll deal with these load times. And we just became accustomed to it. But when we were first introduced to it, like, it sucked, man. And we all noticed it. So it'd be very cool for Sony to close the loop on that and to put an end to massive load times. And the last thing that I'll say, Kyle, because I know I'm rambling a little bit, but
No, it's fine.
I love my console gaming. I have a decent PC. I can play some good games on my PC, but it is time for the consoles to have that edge over PCs once again, because there's always that advantage you get for having the closed box, that closed architecture of not having to worry about drivers and all these mismatched parts and everything. Like, there's an efficiency that you get by having a pre-designed system, and everybody's running off of that. So if one of those advantages is fast load times, then like, go consoles, man. They're really kind of getting beaten over the face by PCs these last couple years.
Yeah, yeah. And anything to take the ammo out of the PC gamer clan, like when they come after us as console gamers, I'm totally for.
Yeah, not looking so perfect blonde and blue eyes, are you master race son?
Nope. With your tax machines. This next scooper comes from Push Square, which is a good one that they're acknowledging. PS5 players can play with PS4 players using backwards compatibility, Sony confirms. Cross-generation play was brought up during company's most recent investor relations question and answer session. When talking about backwards compatibility in general, Vice President John Codera was quick to add that cross-generation play will be important to the PlayStation community. Keeping existing players invested is clearly of high priority to Sony as it looks to introduce the PS5 supposedly next year. This is great. I'm shocked that this isn't a thing that, like, I'm kind of sad that this is a thing they have to announce.
We kind of have this on Xbox. We kind of already do the whole, like, if my friend's playing Left 4 Dead on his Xbox 360 and I'm putting it in my current Xbox One. So, yes, very, very exciting. Kyle, I have a question for you.
What's up?
Again, you have to eat a little bit of a salty sandwich here.
All right, I'm ready.
I thought PlayStation players don't care about backwards compatibility. I thought you guys don't care about old games. I thought new games are new games, old games are old games. You don't care about them. Are we celebrating old games or not? What do you gotta now speak on behalf of the entire PlayStation community for crapping all over Xbox these last couple of years.
I was about to say, because I love old games.
I do too. I know, and I know that you say that to Joe all the time.
Yeah. But no.
But it's very interesting. Like, there's a lot of things that Xbox has been doing very, very well that I think have been sort of like undersold, undercelebrated. It's like, oh, well, that's all you guys have, so like, you go have fun, which is very true. Like, we've been definitely getting killed on the exclusive side. But this is great. This is exactly what we want to come out of the competition, that it kind of rises everybody up to a new standard. Things that we didn't think that we wanted actually turn out to be important to us if we just like experience it a little bit. Sometimes we don't know what we want until we experience it and go like, snap, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. So some interconnectivity between the generations, I think, is exactly what people want. And it's exactly what Sony wants, because there's 100 million people who have a PlayStation 4.
Exactly.
There's not an option to abandon those people.
No. For sure. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. This does bring up a point where back when I was working at GameStop, a guy, when PlayStation 4 launched, he bought it and then bought a copy of like Black Ops 2 or something because he wanted to play with his friends on his PS4.
Oh, yeah.
He brought it back the next day and traded it in for PS3 because that was that important to him.
Oh, my. Yeah, that's a power pod.
And so, like, this is perfect for that guy. I hope he knows this is a thing, and I'm very happy it's a thing. I'm kind of sad that we had to announce it, or not we. I don't work for Sony, but like I'm sad that Sony is in a place where they have to say these simple things that feel like should just be a thing already.
You know, it's been quite a generation, man, of lessons learned. Microtransactions come up, like loot boxes and stuff. Like, that's the type of thing that you're seeing in a lot of games now. Like, no loot boxes is a feature. And so, like, I think that sort of strikes me in that same vein that, like, do we really have to be saying this? But I think we kind of do. The industry en masse sort of like making up for the lessons that they've learned. And we've been asking for this sort of transparency and for companies and platforms to be listening to the player base this entire time. So I'm not going to bash them for actually doing that. But it's just, you gotta check the fan base a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's good.
This next
I'm worried for Xbox now. All these features, man. This is all we had. It was special on the Xbox.
That is true. I remember watching that first Xbox One reveal event at E3 where they spent a lot of time on NFL draft and being able to watch NFL games.
They had me sold, dude. I wanted it.
I did too. I was very jealous because I'm a huge fantasy football player, and I was like, this is great. I would love this. But then it just kind of lingered too long, and it was, and then Sony came back with the Sony came back with the major hammer that night, and rest is history. And it's been, like you said, a lot of lessons learned from that point on.
We're gonna have a lot to talk about these next couple months as we start to learn more about what's happening, and like if Xbox doesn't have the solid state drive thing, or if like somehow they pull back on some of the things that they've introduced here, like man, it is over. But I think the solid state is a game changer.
Yeah. Here's a question. It's not on the list. Are you excited for the fact that maybe Xbox One and PS4 are different enough, like in more of a way than, to me they're very similar almost in terms of what they, not in terms of what they do, but like they play a lot of the same games. Games kind of look different. Do you want more of a difference between consoles, or is it just a brand that we're kind of invested in at this point?
Well, I think it's more interesting if they're unique, and certainly when the two launched, they were very different. Back in 2013, 2013. Very, very different launches for the two, very different directions, and I thought that was fascinating. I really enjoyed the notion of voice control, like Xbox Record that. I thought it was like awesome. I thought that was amazing. I thought it was just as good as the share button. I thought that was the answer, or sort of like that solution to the share button. Do I want these ones to be different? I think yes. I think just based on what I've experienced in the past and how much I did enjoy them to be different back then, I do expect them to be different. I think there's going to be much more of a focus on streaming on Xbox. And I'll say this as well, for whatever it's worth, I think they come right out of the gate with a disc and discless version right out of the gate, and I think the difference in price is $50. So I think that the sad edition that we love to joke about right now is less about selling that actual unit, but establishing that, okay, are you guys cool with $50 being the difference? Like if that were actually happening and that sales didn't bugger that whole plan up. But establishing in our minds that if you take a disc out of the system, that you save $50 and everybody's cool with that, I think that will be a huge driver for the next generation console. It'd be very interesting to see what Sony does with either one or multiple SKUs.
Yeah, good call. This next goober comes from IGN. Dauntless becomes first game with full crossplay between Xbox and PS4 at launch. Dauntless has fulfilled its one Dauntless promise as it launches today with full crossplay and cross progression on PS4, Xbox One, and PC on the Epic Game Store, and is the first game to launch with this functionality for PS4. Phoenix Labs' free-to-play co-op action RPG Dauntless promise of a one Dauntless for all players around the world to play together, no matter where they play, was a truly audacious goal, but one that was very important for the team in its mission. When we first started talking about one Dauntless, we knew it was a truly audacious goal, Jesse Houston, CEO and co-founder of Phoenix Labs, said. No one has ever launched on console with full crossplay support from the start, but we believed in our vision, and thankfully our friends at Epic Games, Sony, and Microsoft did too. Keeping the community connected is one of our top priorities, and with all the new players coming in at launch, there's never been a better time to be a Slayer in Dauntless. This is fantastic.
What an empowering environment for developers to have. Like, this is all they ever really wanted. What an impossible decision for them to make choices between platforms and like, you really have to kind of dedicate efforts and allocate efforts in that way. Now they can just focus on like people who play my game everywhere. This is a new age, and I'm in on this game, man. It's not even just the fact that it's full crossplay. I think that should be catching our attention. I'm glad that we're able to highlight it, but it looks awesome.
Yeah,
It looks like
it does look really fun.
I looked into it in between doing the Xbox Drive because I went into it thinking that when I heard co-op action RPG, I thought Diablo is actually what I was picturing, but it's much more Monster Hunter.
That's what I first thought too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was mostly the co-op thing that like really like, and because it was is sort of indie, like I don't know why I started to think like isometric view, top down sort of basic gameplay. This game looks intense. Like it looks really involved. It looks like a big game, like a Monster Hunter type of experience that I cannot wait. I've got to download it right away.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know at PAX it was there, and that booth was packed.
Was it really?
It was packed. A lot of people were over the Dauntless, the booth over there at PAX East.
Pretty big.
Yeah, and I think this is so awesome, and I love when we hear stories about this. And I hope that other bigger developers are looking at this and are like, if this smaller team can do it, on, I believe is this their first game? Yes, no, maybe. I should have looked that up. On this smaller game, like, why can't we do it? And why can't we push the envelope and make sure we can make this happen and have all gamers be able to play with each other? Because that's huge in today's gaming.
And Epic is right there alongside them. So, like, I think it's part of the vision of the devs, but having Epic's backing as well to really push that forward. They obviously did a lot of work and headway with Fortnite. Like, everybody can say what they will about Fortnite, but I think it's really paved the way for a number of different initiatives. Like even Switch fans to get some damn voice chat on their system. Like that would thanks. We have Fortnite to thank for a lot of different things. The Epic Store, whether you like it or not, and it certainly has its issues getting up and going, but more money going to the developers, a lot of those savings getting passed along to gamers. I think I've always really liked Epic. Gears of War has been a huge part of my life. And even before that, I was just talking earlier to somebody this week about Unreal, like going all the way back. Epic is a great company. So really glad to see this game launch into full crossplay.
So Phoenix Labs, this is their first game. And they are a Canadian studio, Sean,
hey,
Vancouver. And what I really love about their website is they have little profiles for every single developer on the team. And everyone has like their gaming tag underneath them. And like just looking at them, it makes you feel a little warm and fuzzy. Like they're a family.
Yeah, man.
And they're obviously supporting each other, and it's awesome. It's good to see.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's actually my pick this week to go show some love on Twitter. We ask you every week to go show some love to a developer or person in the gaming industry that's doing great things. So go over to @PlayDauntless on Twitter. Go show them some love because this is monumental and it's amazing to see.
Yeah, man.
Also, Joe said, fun fact, the article was written by Adam Bankhurst, and he knows him, and he's a pretty swell dude.
Oh, very nice.
All right, Joe. Next goober, and our final goober, actually, comes from Push Square. Some PS4 users are being invited to alpha test Neo 2 as gameplay footage finally appears. It's been quite a while since we heard anything about Neo 2. The game was announced last year at E3, but we've seen nothing of it aside from a brief teaser trailer. Back in February, Team Ninja reiterated that the game was still in development, but it's been a return to radio silence ever since. Things appear to finally be kicking into gear, however, as the sequel's just got a brand new gameplay trailer. This is our first look at the game in action, and it seems frantic, stylish, and suitably brutal. And yes, it looks like you'll be able to transform into a demon. The trailer also shows off a range of characters, all with different weapons and fighting styles. Remember, you can make your own hero this time around. Adding to the sudden hype, Team Ninja has revealed that a closed alpha will be taking place from the 24th of May to the 2nd of June. According to an accompanying tweet from the developer, only some PS4 users will be given access. At the time of writing, we have no idea who's getting in or how. We assume that they're just going to be invited. I like how that ended. We just assume people are just getting invited.
How else?
Okay.
Or they're stumbling there on their way in.
This is cool because when E3 always comes close, I go back and I watch old press conferences.
So do I.
I'm so excited. Like, it's my new thing. I come home from work, I put one on, I just watch it.
That's so funny. I literally just did the same thing this week.
Yeah. So I watched last year's Sony conference, and as crazy, weirdly paced that was, this was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Seeing Neo 2 show up in a very brief thing, and like they said in this article, it just kind of disappeared.
Yeah. Like a ninja.
So, yeah, just like a game from Team Ninja should.
Yeah.
And it's cool it's coming back. The gameplay, I have not seen the trailer myself, but I've seen Neo 1 in action, and that seems crazy and frantic, so I can only imagine them learning from their mistakes and improving on them in the sequel.
This is a very interesting way for this game to reappear after being gone for so long, and for us really not knowing anything, that there are people doing this alpha test. I'm just encouraged that they're making a sequel to this game. I don't remember or recall hearing anything astronomical about sales, but I think it was fairly well received. And if I can say so, if I could be so bold, Kyle, I like this game better than Sekiro.
Ooh.
I think this game,
the first one?
Yeah, I think Neo 1 I think is excellent. I really love the setting. I think the enemies in this game did more to like frighten me in a way. They go like, "Oh snap, I can't defeat this guy." I thought the enemies mostly in aside from like the bigger dudes in Sekiro is not I didn't love it. And I didn't love the parry system and the posture system as much in Sekiro.
I know Joe was having a problem with Sekiro too in that way.
Yeah, and not for all the reasons that people got really hot about. I did as a game I didn't think it was as strong as. I think Neo was like, it doesn't have that From Software sort of like push. Everybody kind of like, well, it's kind of like the Bloodborne, it's kind of like the Souls games, but it's not from them. So I think that made people discount it, and they shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. He's just a boy. I think that game is awesome, dude. People should definitely check that out. You got some time in between now and obviously when this next game comes out, and it goes on sale all the time. So yeah, shout out to Neo and Team Ninja. They have something very special with this series.
Yeah, and Team Ninja is super talented too. So
yeah, man.
Yeah. Sean, I need you to hold on to something.
Oh God. I've been preparing for this. I've been preparing for this all week.
It's time to prepare the drop. Each week, the PlayStation blog shows what games are coming out on PlayStation software or PlayStation hardware for the week, and we each pick a game and we talk about why we picked it. Sean, do you want to go first? What did you pick this week?
My pick is I maybe gave it away a little bit earlier. Dauntless is absolutely my pick. It's free. I picked this up on all my systems and play it on anything. I don't even care. I have got to check this thing out. This isn't even just like this is the best of what's available this week. This is something that I have to play.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just because of how historic it is, and yeah, I want to check it out and give them some support in some way.
Let's just stop recording now. Do you just want to play?
Yeah, well,
see how that crossplay works. For me. Oh, that's true.
I have to work for field day tomorrow. That's going to be fun.
Oh man.
My pick is Everybody's Golf in VR. I love Everybody's Golf, and I'm excited to try it out in VR. I mean, there's not much more to say. Everybody's Golf is a great golf game, and in VR is probably just as great.
Just make sure you got room around yourself, man. This is a Wii type of accident, like Wii Sports accident is waiting to happen.
I've learned my lesson with Beat Saber.
True enough.
I was too close to some things, and I knocked my hands into them.
You're gonna break your fingers.
Not fun. Since Joe's not here, I'm picking for him. So I'm cheating. I have 2 picks. The other game from the drop that looks cool is a game called Observation. Observation is a sci-fi thriller uncovering what happened to Dr. Emma Fisher and the crew of her mission through the lens of the station's artificial intelligence, Sam. Players assume the role of Sam by operating the station's control systems, cameras, and tools to assist Emma in discovering what is happening to the station, the vanished crew, and Sam himself. So basically you're controlling the cameras and trying to piece together what happened on the space station.
That's cool.
I think that's a cool gameplay hook.
Yeah, man. I like space.
And I'm sorry that I don't do voices, everybody. I'm not Joe. I can't do it.
He's really good at voices.
He's really good, and every time he does one, I sit here and I'm so mad because I can't do them.
I know, and he like locks in on it too. Like anybody can do a voice for like 3 or 4 words and drop like a quick like Christopher Walken like wow.
Yeah,
but he's like it doesn't go anywhere. He's locked in. It's
in and out of it like so seamlessly.
I know.
The only time I can do it is like if I commit to the voice, I'm like Daniel Day-Lewis. Then I have to talk like that for hours.
Exactly.
It's gone.
He's a talented son of a gun.
Sure is. Now he's making shoes as a cobbler, I think.
Yep. Is that where he is?
I think so.
Yeah.
Sean, that's it for this week's trophy room. This went by really quick.
The whole show is done? What?
The whole show's done, man. We didn't really have any questions. I didn't go to England to steal Andy House's mail.
We didn't have to. He's here. Andy House is here in Canada. You guys don't have to like go across the ocean or climb over the wall. He's here. We have a very good relationship because we have his queen on the back of our money. It's all good. Andy House is a friend of mine. Andy House can come over to Sean's house anytime.
Remind myself. I'm gonna tell Joe that and see, because he's broke. He keeps traveling across the ocean to go to Andy's house.
You think that he might like take a little bit of money while he's breaking into his house just to maybe at least break even?
Exactly.
Like gallivanting around. He's the worst heistess I've ever heard of.
For sure. He just sees envelopes and he goes crazy.
I know. He's like, I gotta get this for the show. Gets maybe just a little tunnel vision there, Joe.
Yeah. Sean, where can people find you?
They could find me all over the internet. You guys can find me at Twitter, at Sean Capri. Of course, it's Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. If you like, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I stream at twitch.tv/Sean Capri. And I would really, really love it if you guys listen to the Xbox Drive. Like, I know that we're all locked in on Joe's typing in the notes right now.
He distracted me before.
That's amazing. Okay, I really love it if you guys listen to the Xbox Drive. We do, Luke and I both have a love and appreciation for all things gaming. In case you didn't know, I record the Xbox Drive while driving in my car. That's why it's called the Xbox Drive. I literally have my laptop in the passenger seat, and I Skype call Luke by tethering my work phone to my laptop, so Skype works, and I record the whole thing.
That's impressive.
It's really a lot of fun. I set up a podcasting studio in my car every Wednesday, so check it out every Thursday on iTunes and Spotify and everywhere else.
You can follow me at WhoDatNinja73 on Twitter. Send me those friend requests. Always love getting them. Tell me that you've listened to the show and that's why you're friending me, because that's fantastic. You can find my show all about the kind of funny community called Best Friends Talk Funny on Twitter at BFS Talk Funny. Just hit a 2,000 total listens milestone the other day, which I'm very excited about. So go check that on Twitter, do the podcast thing, rate it 5 stars, and yeah, that's it. E3's coming, Sean. I'm so excited, and have a great time at E3 if I don't talk to you before you leave.
Packing my bags, man. We gotta hit the road.
What, 20 days?
It's getting there. I'll be flying in on June 8th, and yeah, man, I'm stoked. I actually am completely in disbelief.
Yeah, well, have a great time. I hope Xbox kills it there, because I'm excited to see what they bring to the table.
It's going to be good. Thanks for having me on the show, man. This was so much fun.
Thank you. Yeah, this is great.
Did you know I used to co-host this show?
I did know that.
It wasn't called the Trophy Room, I don't think, back then.
No, I think it was just called the PlayStation Podcast.
I think it was in copyright infringement.
Just a little bit, probably.
Just called the PlayStation Podcast, you big cheater. Yeah. Good on you, Joe.
Yeah, I forgot how Joe ends the show.
I think he says that is all, or bah, or something
that's
like that.
That's it. Bye, everybody.